Old Fart on Change, the only person I was ever meant to change, written and narrated by Peter J. Merrick. A.K.A. just an old fart trying to make sense of this beautiful and mysterious thing we call life. One lesson at a time. One of the unexpected gifts of getting older is realizing how little control I ever had over other people. I wish someone had told me that when I was 25. It would have saved me a great deal of frustration. Then again, some lessons cannot be taught. They have to be lived. Back in my mid-20s, I became fascinated by one question. Why do some people change while others spend their whole lives running in circles? When something captured my curiosity, I completely immersed myself in it. Truth be told, the people who knew me back then considered me a bit of an odd kid, an outlier. Actually, to be truthful, I was that oddball everyone pointed at. While most people my age were out doing what 20-somethings usually do, I was buried in books about the mind, human behavior, and trying to understand why we become who we become. Looking back, they were probably right. That curiosity led me to spend 4 years studying medical hypnosis with Dr. Joan Donnelly, one of Canada's leading medical hypnotists. Joan had trained under Dr. Milton H. Erickson, whose work transformed modern clinical hypnosis, and with Wyatt Woodsmall, one of the pioneers of neuro-linguistic programming, whose work explored how our beliefs, our language, and our unconscious patterns quietly shape our lives. There was something unusual about my journey. I was the only student ever who Joan accepted into her program who was not a registered therapist or medical practitioner. I have never forgotten that gift. To this day, Joan remains one of the greatest mentors and influences in my life. I will always be grateful that she saw something in a curious young man that I had not yet learned to see in myself. Many of the questions I am still searching for today, and much of the man I have become, can be traced back to those 4 remarkable years. At the time, I thought I was learning how to change other people. Life, as it often does, had something much more important to teach me. One lesson quietly rose above every other lesson. Medical hypnosis only works when the person truly wants to change. You cannot hypnotize someone into becoming someone they have already decided they do not want to become. The unconscious mind simply says, no. Looking back, I believe I had stumbled upon one of life's eternal truths. You cannot love someone enough to make them change. You cannot argue someone into wisdom. You cannot rescue someone who has no desire to leave the life they have chosen. Believe me, I have tried. I have wanted to spare people from pain I could already see waiting for them. I have wanted them to choose differently. I have wanted them to see what seemed so obvious to me. Sometimes they listened. Most times they did not. Then one day, life quietly placed a mirror in front of me. Peter, how many times have you done exactly the same thing? That question changed me. There were seasons when I knew exactly what needed to change in my own life. I simply was not ready. I stayed too long. I held on too tightly. I wanted certainty when life was asking for trust. I wanted people to become who I hoped they would become instead of accepting who they already were. That realization hurt. It also became one of the greatest gifts of my life. The older I become, the less interested I am in changing people. I have become much more interested in understanding them. Everyone carries a unique story. Everyone carries wounds. Everyone is fighting battles we know nothing about, including this old fart. Looking back, I no longer see life as a race to collect answers. I see it as a journey toward peace and acceptance. Every disappointment, every heartbreak, every success, every mistake I wish I had not made has quietly pointed me in the same direction, not toward becoming more impressive, but toward becoming more at peace. With each passing day, I'm learning to be a little more honest with myself, a little more patient, a little more forgiving, a little more present. Perhaps another lesson life has been trying to teach this old fart is to become gentler with my words, because when I am gentle with others, I usually discover I have finally become gentler with myself. Age has not made me wiser because I have found all the answers. It has made me humbler because I have accepted that life is filled with mysteries I may never fully understand. I am still a work in progress. I suspect I always will be. Perhaps that is exactly the way life was meant to be. Life has taught me that every person who enters our lives has something to teach us, if we are willing to pay attention. Some teach us through kindness, some through disappointment, some through love, some through loss. Every one of them leaves us a little different than when they found us. I do not have the answers to life's great questions or mysteries. I am figuring them out just like everyone else, by living, by failing, by taking stock with deep introspection, by laughing at myself once in a while, and by being deeply grateful that life has been patient enough to keep teaching me. After spending 4 years studying the human mind and more than 5 decades simply trying to understand life, I have come to one conclusion. The greatest work any of us will ever do is not changing another human being. It is becoming a little more honest with ourselves each passing day. If this old fart has learned anything, it is that life is not asking us to become perfect. It is asking us to become conscious, to choose peace over intensity, and when tomorrow morning arrives, to quietly get up and try again. Because I finally understand something I could not see when I was 25. The greatest lessons of my life were never taught to me. They were lived, one imperfect day at a time. Peter J. Merrick, A.K.A. Old Fart, still a work in progress.